OMG, guys. Do I stay in Texas or do I go back to California? I have been kind of wrestling with this conversation for the last couple of weeks, and I need your input. I need your help. So I'll give you a little bit of background about, why it's a challenging decision, and then, then please weigh in. Some of these things may color your decision. So I moved to Texas, to Dallas from Los Angeles in 2018. I was part of a wave of folks just kind of really escaping the crushing cost of living. At the time, I was living in Long Beach, in a beach community, but it was really one of the last corners, one of the last bastions of affordable living in all of Los Angeles County. Unless you go way up to the high desert to, I don't know if it's considered high desert, but Palmdale and Lancaster area at the very north, tip of Los Angeles County. So I was being kind of pushed out of the city in terms of affordability. I started my YouTube channel around that time, and, I haven't gone back to look at those videos, but I was very close to being homeless at that time. I was taking the bus everywhere to work, and I would set a camera up outside in the neighborhood around where my job was to come on and YouTube and talk about different things, and didn't even have a place to film a YouTube video. And so kind of the weight of my lifestyle was just too much. And I decided to come to Texas to regroup. One of the last few days that I was in Los Angeles, I walked to the beach and I said, you know what? It's time to go regroup. I know that you love the city amenities, being close to the beach, being close to Palm Springs, the desert and the mountains, being close to skiing with Big Bear, in that whole San Bernardino area. The San Diego area, you have access to so much within just a couple of hours of your doorstep in Los Angeles, that I realized that I really, really loved the potential lifestyle. But, when you're getting up at 4 a.m. every morning and getting home at 8 p.m. battling traffic, you can't appreciate it. So I said, hey, leave, go to Texas, go back home to Texas where regroup, save $10,000 or $15,000, that much money. But the idea was to be able to have some choices in life and not have the city dictate all of my choices for me. I wasn't close enough to the industry to warrant the connections and the networking that, the city calls for. I didn't have a good community. I did not represent value to folks that were just trying to make ends meet out there. And it took me a lot of time and maturity to realize it. And so I was just disappearing within myself, depression, loneliness. Came to Texas, got a job for an airline, and also taught myself personal finance at the same time. Learned how to contribute to my 401k and better money habits. And lo and behold, guys, I met my goal that I had set for myself. I was so comfortable with the quality of life. I was kind of still in that resting and restorative mode from having lived in the big city for 10 years. That when I hit my goal and I was still on that train of building more and more, I obviously wasn't going to jump off and run back to struggle, And so I continued to build on some of those practices, eventually doubled my goal, went a little bit, beyond. And bought a condo, have a little bit of real estate under my belt. And something happened at work recently, a really stressful event that made me really reassess my why of why I'm here. And I went back and revisited that conversation on the beach and said, you've met your goal, you know. Maybe it's time to go back to Los Angeles and finish what you started. My dilemma is that I know it's a midlife crisis. I'm comfortable in North Texas. I am thriving, in so many different ways. And so it in some ways it feels like running from problems to run back to, somewhere that you're used to. And but also there is some upside to leaning into that midlife crisis and I want to share this with you guys. I can potentially put a long-term renter into the condo that I have bought here and have someone help me to build equity into my home. That frees me to pursue other real estate opportunities and perhaps one day have a fingerprint in real estate. It's a dream and it's a goal of mine. I also have enormous income potential in Los Angeles. I have spent a couple of years building kind of a data analysis resume, working for a few Fortune 500 companies, and can command what I believe is a decent salary, much more than I can command here in North Texas, which would allow me to be building equity in my home here, not only live in Los Angeles, but be able to thrive, be able to live in where I want to live is probably in Woodland Hills, kind of on the Woodland Hills, Calabasas border, and not have to live in Reseda and North Hollywood or Compton or these cities that are all adjacent to desirable cities. What's nice about the Woodland Hills area is that it's very comparable to the North Dallas area where I live. Quieter, suburban. You still have, the studios at your fingertips, but you can still kind of raise a family in that area too, My channel is about talking film and television, and so being closer to the industry that aligns with my passion, the things that I'm actually interested in dealing with on a day-to-day basis, makes sense. I would not just be going to work at Trader Joe's, I would be going to apply at Warner Brothers, NBC Universal, and different studios, as well as other, career paths as well. But I would have my eye on, getting into the industry and having a say in some of the things that, we talk about and we enjoy. And so there's this midlife crisis thing where I want to live a little bit, and but I don't want to give up the quality of life, and I don't want to give up the peace that I have found outside of big city living. So that's where my dilemma is. What do you guys think? I have choices now, and there's a possibility to make my situation or my territory larger, but it's also a gamble that could backfire and could create a lot of mess in my life. If the tenant or the property management service turns out to be a dud, then I have a headache in two places. If I'm not able to, based on personality, get into the industry and schmooze and booze, the way that other folks can, that presents a challenge as well. And so I have to be measured about how I run and jump into these decisions. So share your thoughts below. I hope you at least enjoyed this conversation. It may give you a little bit of insight into Los Angeles and Dallas and the differences of the two. There may be some other folks that are considering moving back from Texas to California. If you are one of those people, share your experience in the comments below. But give this video a like if you will, a comment, and please consider subscribing to my channel, Justin Talks Film, for movie, TV, and life-related content. And until our next chat, bye. Take care.